Good morning, everybody. As you're hopping on, I'm settling a few things here. Please let me know where you're watching from. Please say hi to me, comment. I won't know that you're there watching unless you comment. Just put this picture up there of Joe Biden and Chris Wallace before the little event last night. This is Mike Cook coming to you live from Central Missouri. How are all my Patriot brothers and sisters doing out there? Last night's debate was a circus, no doubt. Hey, Scott, how you doing today? Glad you can join us. It was a mess. Hey, it's 8:12 a.m. on September 30th, 2020. The year the conspiracy theories came true. I'm glad you all are jumping on. Again, I'm going to talk about the show last night that my caption is Celebrity Death Match, because that's basically what we have here. We have the celebrity death match. It is insane what's been going on. But I want to talk about a little bit about commentary about, it really was Donald Trump versus a tag team match of Chris Wallace and Joe Biden. From the very beginning, from the very first question, the questions were set up to basically, Chris Wallace didn't ask questions. He made statements in the form of a question. He did what the press corps does when they ask Trump questions. They get up there, they grandstand, they make it about them. Chris Wallace wanted this to be about Chris Wallace. But the other thing that he did is every time Joe Biden got in trouble, he gave the answers to Joe Biden in the question. And when Joe Biden would mouth off or interrupt Trump, he wouldn't say anything. But when Trump would do it, he would start badgering Trump. Now, again, I'm going to say this was a three-way shitstorm. There's a word for it called cluster something or another in the military. And it was three ways, literally three ways. Chris Wallace is much to blame as Biden and Trump. But I do want to point out some things that really caught my attention about this. A couple of things. I'm going to really get into one. Let me touch on the smaller one. Right at the end, they talked about how Donald Trump, Joe Biden brought up how Donald Trump called the troops losers. He didn't at all. That came out in the Atlantic. They had 4 unnamed sources that said that Trump refused to go to the World War I memorial in France when he was over in France and called them nothing but a bunch of losers. Then they got the flight logs. It turned out it was raining, and, these big helicopters, they can't land on grass fields when it's been raining for a long time. The landing gear sink, and that's a problem, especially for the president's helicopter, which is quite heavy. Also, 20 people came out on the record and said they were with the president, and he never said it. So that's a lie. It was straight up lie. And the guy that wrote the article in the Atlantic said that he may have exaggerated. In other words, lied. So it was a made up hit job in the Atlantic, which is a liberal rag anyways. Then Trump countered him by saying, "You called soldiers bastards." And Joe denied it. Joe lied because there's video of it. Another instance, Trump pointed out that Joe told the Ukrainians they're not going to get the $1 billion if he didn't fire the prosecutor. Trump brought that up. Joe Biden denied it. But he's on video bragging about it. Just this week, a Senate report leaked that talked about all the money that Joe Biden's son, I did a video on it, Joe Biden's son got. Joe Biden absolutely denied this, even though that is a lie. Straight up, as my mama would say, a lie from the pit of hell. But that's not what I want to talk about. because this is an example of how Chris Wallace set Donald Trump up by asking the question a certain way. You see, when you ask the question of, okay, on global warming, and he starts talking about the fires, which were set, by the way, by activists, but he starts talking about the fires and all this stuff. The premise is that global warming is real and man-made, and that Donald Trump is against it. So now Donald Trump has to defend himself. That's the premise. Well, Donald Trump should have done what I would have done. I would have just said, no, Chris Wallace, I reject that wholeheartedly. There may or may not be global warming, but man has not much to do with it. The big ball of fire in the sky has more to do with it. And the fires out in California were mostly started by arsonists and poor management of the forests. But let me get to the point that I wanted to talk about. So Chris Wallace wanted to corner Trump because Trump's a white supremacist. And here we go with the white supremacist stuff. He never said white supremacists were good people. If you go back and watch the video, that was over North Carolina 3 years ago, but they still bring it up. They still lie about it. But Chris Wallace said, are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups to say they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and Portland? And then Trump went on to respond, sure, I'm willing to do that. I'd say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not the right wing. I'm willing to do anything. I want peace. That's what Trump said. Furthermore, he went on to say, he says, well, then do it, sir. Wallace pressed. Say it, Biden said, added to it. So Trump says, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. Now, if you go back to this page here, he said, are you willing to condemn the white supremacists? And let's see, where is the Proud Boys? It's not in here, but earlier they to ask the militias and the Proud Boys to stand down. So Trump says, stand back, stand by. He's saying stand down, but in Trump's mind, that's the way it went. If you watch him at his conventions, you'll know that's the case. But I tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left. This is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing problem. Biden went on to say that Antifa doesn't exist, that it's not real. But you flip on your flipping TV and you see them all over the place. Just down in Kentucky last week, when they came out and didn't charge enough to that police officer, there was a U-Haul truck, and it's on video, them unloading Antifa stuff. If you go to the Antifa website and you click on Antifa.com, it takes you straight to the Biden campaign. If you go to Black Lives Matters and you want to donate money, it takes you to Act Blue, which is a fundraising arm of the DNC. You see, Antifa and the DNC are wholly owned by Antifa and Black Lives Matters are wholly owned by the DNC. Regardless of what they tell you, they take their orders from them. They're doing what they're told to do by them. Oh, and one more thing. Here's a screenshot of the Proud Boys at one of the events. The racist white supremacist Proud Boys. I don't think I have to explain that shot. I think it explains itself. These are the racists that Donald Trump was asked to condemn. My friends, Joe Biden got on a black podcast and said, if you ain't black, or if you don't know, he said, if you don't know who to vote for right now, you ain't black. In other words, because the color of your skin, you're supposed to vote a certain way. Can you get any more racist than that statement right there? The racists are not in the Republican Party, although there probably are some because they're Democrats that just have an R next to their name. The racists are in the Democrat Party. The KKK was started by the Democrats. All of the South was Democrats. When one of the Democrats decided they were going to walk away from the ideas of the Democrats, the socialist Marxist takeover of the Democrat Party in the 60s, when one of the Democrats stand up and said, no, we probably ought not go down this road, they assassinated him, JFK. That's right. These same people. When Martin Luther King said we should hold hands and peacefully resist, like the folks did in Utah the other day, was it Utah? Idaho the other day, as singing hymns, and they didn't have a mask on, so they were arrested. They peacefully went with the officers. That was Martin Luther King's way. Because Martin Luther King said, I had a dream that one day the white man, the black man, the Jew, and the Gentile will stand together and sing in that old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty we're free at last. Because Martin Luther King believed in a different way, they assassinated him too. See, this is a radical Marxist takeover, and Joe Biden has sided with them. When Trump asked him to reject the Green New Deal, the socialist Marxist idea, when Donald Trump asked him to reject Antifa and Black Lives Matters, when Donald Trump asked that, Joe Biden said they didn't exist, Antifa. They're just an idea. Well, what idea is that, Joe? What idea is that? It's a Marxist. They're Marxist socialist radicals. Black Lives Matters, their leaders, the two gals that run it, are Marxist socialists, trained Marxist socialists. That's what they declare themselves. That's their words, not mine. I don't think that this celebrity death match last night changed anybody's mind. As a matter of fact, I believe that if your mind isn't already made up, you're probably not going to vote anyway, and you probably shouldn't. We have a defined separate choice in this election. You can choose Marxism, communism, socialism, the complete destruction of the Constitution, the complete consolidation of power at the federal level. They said they want to stack the courts. Trump tried to get him to deny that, and he wouldn't do it. Or freedom. If you take Trump's lips away and you just look at what he's done more republicanism, more conservatism since Ronald Reagan, and probably before that, in his actions and deeds. He's cut red tape, he's cut regulations, he's cut taxes, he's got government out of the way. The reason we were the greatest economy the world has ever seen in January, and then it was taken out by the intentional misuse of a crisis you didn't want to go to waste. Our economy went to a standstill. We went to a depression standstill created by our government and those in our government that do not want the orange man to get reelected. And then when Trump finally seen through everything that was going on, and I'll tell you what, he was scared to death that millions of people were going to die, but he realized that this was crap. He's not come out and said it because he knows the media would have a heyday with it, but I know that's what he believes, that this is a pile of crap. That's why he's saying we got to open it back up. Even with California, Michigan, Illinois, and New York, and Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and North Carolina still shut down to this day, businesses are not open in those states. It cannot be open in those states by law unless you're Walmart or unless you're Amazon. I wonder how much money they gave to those governors. Still to this day, they're closed down. And even with that, the economy of this country has come roaring back. We're all the way down below 8% unemployment. By the election, it'll probably be lower than that. And I believe by the end of this year, we'll be back to where we were last year at the end of the year. Unless Joe Biden gets elected. You will see a wholesale abandonment of the economy if Joe Biden gets elected. He wants to raise $4 trillion in taxes for his Green New Deal that he denied that he wanted to be part of, even though he's endorsed it, even though that he's taken the Green New Deal, changed the wording slightly, and made it the Biden deal. He wants to eliminate the combustion engine and have all electric cars with an infrastructure and a power grid that can't support what its demand is now. He wants to create solar panels and windmills, which are inefficient and ineffective. What happens on a cloudy day when there's no wind? We don't have the battery power to store the energy for the evening time. It's not possible. The cleanest energy there is nuclear, but we can't build nuclear plants because people like Joe Biden. The second cleanest is natural gas, but we can't build natural gas power plants because people like Joe Biden. Joe Biden wants to end fracking while his son is taking money from Burisma, which is a fracking company in Europe. Donald Trump brought that up. Your son's taking all this money from China, from Russia, from Kazakhstan, from Ukraine. This is kind of getting long, and I'm kind of going on a rant, but you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I got one more question to ask Mr. Joe Biden. Where were you on the night of September 11th, September 12th, when the ambassador of Libya was assassinated and 3 people gave their lives trying to save him? Where were you, Joe Biden? What did you know, and when did you know it? Who gave the stand down order? Were you there? Was it Hillary? Was it Obama? Where were you at? You're the vice president of the United States of America. Your country's under attack at the embassy or the annex of an embassy in Benghazi. And nobody knows where Hillary Clinton, who was Secretary of State, and one of her ambassadors was being assassinated, and Barack Obama, the president of the United States, and Joe Biden, the vice president of the United States, and the front runner, the Democrat nominee for president of the United States. Where were you at? And what did you know? You know who knows the answer to that question? General Flynn. Is there a reason they tried to prosecute that man? That's about to be overturned. Stay tuned. Hey, thank you for jumping on. Please let me know if you're watching this on the rerun. How you doing, Robert? Glad you jumped on. You guys have a great day. I'll catch you later.